Thanks for joining us this week on Meeples, Episode 8. We decided to play Panic Station. It's quite an awesome game. Get ready. They're coming after you.
Doing intros?
Doing intros? I'm Ian.
Andrew.
Brian.
Adam.
Panic Station is, the best way to say the theme, I'd say, John Carpenter's The Thing. Think of it that way. You arrive at this abandoned base, it's being taken over and infested, and you have to find the hive, which is placed near the bottom of the deck, so it's one of the last rooms you discover, and you have to burn it out using at least 3 gas cans, and we'll talk about the different items you can get. To stop you, the little parasites will be infesting. There's the gray ones, which only have 1 hit point. They only do 1 point of damage to you. And then there's black parasites, which do 2 points of damage to you, and they take 2 hits to kill. When you hit them once, you flip them to the gray side. Then they have 1 hit point left, and they do 1 point of damage. Then you can remove them from the game from there. But basically, everybody starts in this middle room. So this is the first room drawn. And every person gets 2 characters. You get an android, who can use machine guns, and you get a human, who can use the flamethrower to burn out the hive. If you ever lose your human, you can't really win the game.
And you can use knives. You
can use knives to attack, too, besides that. And then they can both use grenades, a lot of items in the game. But basically, every time you enter a room, it starts with the black symbol face up, and when you search it, you flip it to the red side, showing it's been searched. You draw an item for every search you do, and the items can be, grenades, bullets, guns, things like that. However, at some point, near the top of the deck, you sneak this in. And this is the infestation card, which means that person is now infected, and they are going to try to become a traitor, because up to this point, everybody's been playing cooperatively on the same team. So now they are going to try to infect people, while everybody else, hopefully does not know who's infected. The way you infect people now gets a little more complicated, but you have items and 3 cards that have your color blood on them. It looks like a little blood stain. When you enter the same room as a character, if a red person and a green person come into the same room, before they do anything else, they have to swap cards. Now, normally you just trade items and say, okay, fine, and you trade it face down so nobody knows what you're trading. However, if you are infected, you can trade a blood card that has your same blood color dot on here. So red player would have a red dot or whatever, blue would have a blue dot.
Excuse me.
If they, bless you.
Where's the cough button?
You could have clapped and then clap again.
If they get this... If they get this card, they're infected. Now, just because you trade with somebody doesn't mean you're automatically infected. And this is going to be a long explanation because one of our complaints is this is ridiculously complicated. But if you suspect somebody is infected and you know they're going to try to give me their blood card, they're going to try to infect me, and then I'll be a traitor, I'll be on their side a bad guy too. If you have a gas can, which you do need to win the game to burn out the hive, you can use that to burn the infection instead. So he gives me a blood, I give him a gas can. I now know he's infected, but I'm not infected because I gave him a gas can. So this is when everybody starts backstabbing each other. Like, he knows that I know he's infected, and you can table talk and point fingers. You can just never show cards or cheat in that way. But I could immediately say, like, holy cow, you guys, Andrew tried to infect me just now. I'm going to shoot him. And
whether they believe you or not is the question.
Absolutely. For all they know, really, I'm the infected one who wants to shut him up, and that's why I'm attacking him. But, I think that's most of the game. You're searching around, trying to find items, trying to go into eventually get the hive, burn it out, and a lot of along the way there's lots of finger pointing, laughing, a little bit of cussing maybe, and
no, we can't cuss.
We can't. There's lots of aliens, and they get laid down, and then they move at the end. Everybody goes around, and then at the end you roll the dice, and they move because on this main card,
good call, there
is a number. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they move in that appropriate direction if they can.
And then if they end up in the same room as a human or android, they attack you and do damage to you automatically.
Which he just pointed out wrong, because the numbers on the back and front don't match.
If you could actually read them, good luck.
Nice. It's that kind of... Again, there are probably more rules. Please don't comment and complain, but that is the gist of the game. It's a kind of a suspenseful survival horror.
That's what it is in a nutshell.
Please comment. Just don't complain.
Yeah, we can get to the...
only nice things.
Hop on, find the rules for yourself if you want to get more complicated.
Yeah, we can talk about the rules. I think that's a complaint area, but I think we should start with the components, like we usually do, as far as what comes in the box, our views on that. I think one of the common complaints we had with this is it's all basically a card game. It's all these not that they're terrible cards, they're kind of textured and a little bit plasticky, but even the map tiles are the same as your items, and because of that, they slide around like crazy. They're very light, and they're not like most games that have map tiles like this card here that is a thicker cardboard, so when they, go to move, they bump up against each other and kind of hold their position a little bit better. So the board starts to float.
I would like them to be interlocking. Like, I'm a big fan of just like a little puzzle piece notch in them, and then they would stay together.
But something making them a little bit thicker, because when you got 5 people plus aliens and rolling dice and trading cards, that map gets moved around a lot, I think.
And they never, just like right now, they never sit straight for long.
Yeah.
That's one complaint.
I actually positive. I think it's an elegant design as far as like the 1, 2, 3, and 4 characters, and also on your hit points for your where you just turn your card, and that is your lifespan, instead of a lot of other games. They tend to say you have life, you have health in certain ways, and I do think this is a very easy and very simple design to do that and to point out where you're at in the game as far as movement, places. With saying that, then there's a lot of symbols on these cards that actually don't make a lot of sense, and some symbols might make a little bit more sense.
A lot of referring back to the rulebook to say like, what does this mean, or how do I play this card?
One example is we had the knife for the human, and the way they tell you that it's a reusable weapon and not something you discard is they have a little orange square on it. Well, that orange square isn't, unless you've really read the rules, isn't clear on what it means.
Right.
They could have, I think we with the idea of putting like an infinity symbol on it or something, telling you that you can keep using it over and over again.
Or the grenade and the guns and all that stuff. They actually don't tell you how many hit points that you're actually using, or when you utilize that weapon, as far as how much damage it does, or how many hit points to the.
That is a downfall when you're shooting.
Yeah, you're like, wait, hold on a second. I want to use this card, but I don't know if I can. If this can kill or do what I want to do.
Because with the gun, you have to have bullets, and they have numbers just like your characters.
And you just rotate the
So
card.
for every bullet,
again,
1 bullet, 2 bullets, 3 bullets.
Nicely done.
But yeah, the knife again has a +3 in the corner, and I initially thought that meant you do 3 damage with it. Well, what it turns out it means is you have to roll a 3 or higher to do 1 damage. So it's not exactly clear in that way.
Right. I mean, like to maybe make it a triangle as the dice is, to say it's a triangular roll of +3 or more.
Right, like put the dice on there.
Yeah, exactly. Saying +3 on the dice or something. It makes sense. Something that makes sense would be great.
I'm a bits kind of guy, and the stickers on the disc, it works. They match up to their character in the picture. But I'm a big fan of like a little figurine, a little character that actually stands up, a little 3D aspect to the game.
It would be.
It'll look cool.
I do think
it would take up more space.
It would.
It's a nice, small, compact, easy to transport box right now, so I know why they did what they did. But I'm a fan of actual characters. Would be cool.
And it keeps the cost down too. I mean, it's a relatively cheap game as far as games go.
Well,
so
how much is this generally run?
I believe it's like suggested $30.
Suggested $30?
Yeah, and suggested retail price, and you can find it online for a lot cheaper and stuff. But
so
for the price, it's not bad.
Yeah, they do figurines. They bump the price up. I guess I'm fine with the discs, but I agree. I'd like
the artwork, however. What do we think of that?
If you were willing to pay a lot more for the game, you could really make it a lot more expandable, locking pieces, little characters, things like that.
Maybe
but for a low-cost game, it is very well designed.
Yeah, it is. It is.
What about the artwork? I like it. I think it kind of has that horror, creepy vibe. The shadows,
it's kind of the alien look actually more than the thing.
They were definitely going for that. You can tell. Okay. Any other? We have an issue when we play with you. Do you want to bring that up? Go ahead.
Everybody always thinks I'm infected, but I'm never infected. But beyond that point, I actually wanted there's kind of 2 main aspects. You're fighting the room of aliens as well as other players, as well as the actual virus getting. So I mean, there are very deep components to this game and very strategic pieces to this game.
Don't avoid the subject. What is it that always happens when we play with you that you struggle with this game?
Oh yes, I would like to.
What color?
I am in fact colorblind, and I guess that's what I bring to the table. That's what I bring to reviews.
These little teeny color nuts, because you can only give your colored blood away if you're infected. Because if I was green and I gave him green blood, he's going to assume he's infected now, according to the rules. So I got to make sure I don't give. However, if you run out of items, and let's say Adam tried to infect me earlier, I can't give my blood away, because that means I'm infecting somebody. If I'm not infected, I cannot give. So I'm out of items. I have to trade him something. I can't give my blood. I have to give him Adam's blood that Adam tried to infect me with earlier, if I had successfully burned it out or something. So if I give him blue, he's like, okay, he has to figure out first off that I'm green, and he has to be able to stare at that little dot. What color is that dot? And there was literally one time when he received a card from Adam, and I watched this from across the table. It plays out like this. Like, he just got a blood card. Okay, so...
There was also another incident where he didn't realize that there was different colors at the bottom and passed me somebody else's.
He was infecting. He's trying to infect you.
Well, honestly, the two colors that I'm having troubles with, and I'm red, brown, green, and
orange,
and
purple,
blue,
yellow,
blue,
chartreuse,
purple, colorblind,
white,
and really the blue and the purple in this game tend to look alike. They are not like a full color; they're kind of dotted, and that it really kind of hurts. I mean, if you ever did the color rules when you're colorblind, that's how they get you. Yeah. That's how the doctors get you. And then the other one that I was having troubles with was the orange-red, and they kind of, I mean, the orange isn't very bright orange; it's very dull.
Are you shaking your head at the color?
So basically, this game is almost black and gray to him.
Yeah. I see colors.
So if you have somebody color, but no, I mean, I tease and make fun of you, but that is like, that was a problem our first couple games.
Yeah.
So you need to really explain to that colorblind person that either they should sit the game out. Not to be mean.
I'm not allowed to play anymore.
Ostracize them. No, but really, you should have to explain, like, hey, make sure you know what color is what and who's what color, so that when blood's getting passed around, you know exactly what's going on.
It's really ineffective when he gets a blood color and means the next guy, what color is that? It just doesn't do a lot.
Is he trying to infect me or am I safe?
In his defense, I mean, it is kind of a dark, gloomy game because that's the way it's designed. So, yeah, a lot of the colors are kind of bland. They're not bright and pop, so...
I do.
So that's a real concern.
So when you bring this game over, you're like, here's your can of pasty and go in the corner and eat some Elmer's. While we go and have some fun for a little bit.
Well, then the adults play.
Yeah, the adults table. We're going to play here for an hour.
Ooh, yeah, it's Elmer's.
I have one little complaint, though, is that the game can be broken easily, and if you go on Board Game Geek or you go on a lot of sites, this game is not reviewed highly. I think it's averaging about a 6, which isn't bad out of 10. But there are a lot of people who dog it, saying that it's just too easy to break the game. It's too complicated.
Break?
Back that up. That, like, you know, burning out the infection, it can make it really hard for somebody to infect somebody if you luck out and get gas cans right away. Or the rules were a little complicated, so they had to release a version 2, which did clarify some things, but when it first came out, it turned people off big time.
Sure.
So there were some issues when it was first released, which, again, there are version 2 rules. Download them, print them off. That's what I did.
They help. I guess kind of the issue we have is even with the version 2 rules, though, we were going back to the rules a lot and finding things that just maybe weren't as clear as they could be as far as... for instance, if you're trying to infect and you give all your blood away and all you have is the infection card left over, if you pass that infection card, the biohazard card, can that be burned out? And we looked through the rules.
Or is it an auto-infection? And I read somewhere, I'm almost positive that it's an auto-infection. If my 3 blood cards have been burned out, I have no more blood cards yet, I'd have to try to infect somebody else. I read somewhere, I don't know if it was in a
So we're requesting somebody else do the research that Brian obviously can't do.
Yes, that we failed miserably.
We did settle on a house rule that you can burn it out for at least the game that we played tonight.
But that kind of gets to the fact that there's a version 2.0 as far as the rules go that helps, but it still leaves a few issues open that maybe could be a little clearer.
Well, let's go into that strategy piece as far as the games and the gameplay is considered. The game can be won by burning out the hive, and by infecting the entire group of people.
If you infect everybody, then the bad guys win.
And then the flip
what
side,
we ran into tonight with
where you can only burn out the hive if you're human.
Yeah,
so you could actually...
You're human and android, so...
And going back to my earlier point is you can basically... What is it? You can kill the other players. So you're playing against other players, you're playing against the virus, and you're playing against the room with aliens.
Yeah, I
mean,
so
three overall themes of the game.
And what happened tonight, actually, is Ian...
We killed his human, basically.
Yeah, lost his human, and he was the only uninfected person left.
And he couldn't burn out the hive.
He couldn't burn out the hive. I mean, he effectively lost, even though he could have technically kept playing, there was no way he could
That was my elbow, by the way, in case the microphone picked that up. So
I mean, like when Ian said
it was
3 aspects
way to
of the
win.
game, he could have kind of won the game, but he couldn't have completely beat the game because he couldn't burn out the hive. But he could have killed us.
All of us.
2 infected people.
But technically, we prevented him from winning the game in a roundabout, on accident kind of way. Like, oh, your human's dead. You're in trouble now.
Accident.
Well, it was totally intentional, and that's why we made a house rule where you could completely burn out the infection card versus having it be an ultimate infection card where you can never burn that out. Because of the flip side of that, you could always kill the other person's humans, and then the virus or the people could you could ultimately win that way, without having to actually win the game or defeat the purpose of the rest of it.
As far as one of the strategies that we go when we play this game, I think Andrew and I have both tried the same strategy. I started out infected this last game. I don't know if that was the case with him. But when you trade cards right away, if you're infected, you don't have to infect the other person. You can try to,
win them over their trust.
You give them a gas can, like you're thinking maybe they're infected. And the goal in that kind of is to collect as many gas cans as you can as the infected person, and then start infecting everybody. Because if you can hoard all the gas cans, you can effectively keep them from winning, because they're never going to get the gas cans to burn out the hive. And so,
and what happened to me was I collected so many gas cans, and then I just purposely let them kill me, to where other people weren't infected,
but there's no way.
There is no gas cans left to win the game. So
there's I think a good amount of strategy to this, because you can really kind of play with each other. Like you said, you have table talk where you can try to say, oh, that person's infected, or oh, you gave me a blood card.
My favorite one was, before we really realized you could table talk, you're so used to in games no table talk. So the first game we played, I tried to infect Adam because I don't remember if I had been infected or I drew the card and I was the infected to begin with. But I came into a room with Adam and I gave him one of my blood cards and he gave me a gas can. And I'm like, well, I still have a couple movement points, so I'm going to stab Adam. And everybody's like, what? I just like, I don't know what else to do because he knows I'm infected. And so I just turned around and looked at everybody like, I'm going to kill him. And they were like, what's going on? But it is a little more fun if you just start pointing fingers.
One of Andrew's great strategies, where you ran along to start dropping.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know who was infected, and I didn't trust anybody because, like, I'd gotten stabbed or shot once or twice by 2 different people, so I was just running down the hallway, and I had like 3 grenades just offhand, and I was just chucking them into the next room, just walking down the hallway.
Just killing people willy-nilly. You didn't care who they were.
And then I think I got infected my next turn around. I think I pulled the infection card on that one.
I think it was the same game, actually, that Pat, one of the other guys in our group, was killed off early in the game because we just didn't know if he was infected or not. And so Ian, I guess, just went postal on him and just wiped him out.
Let me ask you guys this, though. Do you not think that can kind of break the game, too? If somebody wants to be a jerk and just be like, I'm just going to kill people right off the bat, forget the theme, forget the goal of the game. It's all moot at that point if they're going to just kill everybody.
Well, that's kind
of a jerk move.
Their goal of the game, because it's the different...
There's the different ways you can win it.
Exactly. Right. You make your own goal.
But you killed another human. He was not infected at the time. You're just like, I'm going to kill bad.
But
and you killed him,
I would be
and it
upset
hurt his humans.
As the infected, I'd be like, that's one less person I can infect.
Yep.
So maybe I'd try and kill the person that's trying to kill everybody else, just to even out the game again so I can infect.
If you were lucky enough to get a lot of ammo early on, and weren't infected, you could go about the route of just killing everybody and then collecting gas cans and winning the game. I mean, that's a legitimate way to do it.
But then you do have somebody sitting there for 45 minutes twiddling their thumbs going, oh, okay, well.
Are you just bitter? Is that...
It wasn't me, it was bad. I felt bad for him. It was his first time playing.
He also...
and there was no reason to do it.
Do we know what the disconnect was on his turn, where he went into the corner of the game and just started basically, I'm going to search, I'm going to search, I'm going to search.
And he kept bringing in more and more.
Well, because obviously if you search a room that's already searched, it will spawn an alien.
Yeah.
And so for whatever reason, I thought then that he was trying to get as many aliens on the boards to be able to hurt the other players in the game, so I just went over and just shot him, killed him.
Yeah.
Because I figured that seems legitimate to me. And I mean,
I don't remember if was that the same.
That was he was out within.
And I think
20 minutes.
The random shooting adds to that whole paranoia of this game.
Right.
I think that's actually what they should be calling instead of panic and paranoia.
I thought you were going to say random shooting. There is one other. I do recall another complaint that people have. The reason this game scored kind of low, and that's basically that if you don't play with the right group, this would be a lot less fun. If you don't have people willing to point fingers and be like, dude, he totally is infected, and you're not willing to kind of laugh and I don't know, kind of get into the game and the theme and have fun with it, it's going to be a lot less fun. It's going to be very dry.
Really serious about the game, it's just no fun. I mean, you have to interact with the other people, otherwise if you just... Like the first time we played, we weren't used to it, like Brian said, with the table talk, and it was just... I don't know, our first go around we were kind of like, it was alright, it was fun, but then once we got into the table talk, it just really took off.
It did help me last game where you actually, and everybody was kind of pointing out saying I was infected. And I hadn't been, but everybody was steering clear of me which then left me to be alone in my own little rooms, you know, collecting points and discovering rooms so I can get to the hive and I could get and we ended up eventually winning the game, based on nobody touched me, and that was great. That was
yeah. Nobody wanted to be near you.
No, nobody wanted to be near
Pretty
me.
much like real life.
Yeah.
Right. I'm the smelly kid. I'm the Linus.
Well, on the note of nobody wanting to be around Ian,
Who's the smelly kid?
should we start our reviews here?
Yeah, let's wrap this baby up.
You want to go that me? Well,
Yeah, we already started on that.
Scale 1, well, for people who are new, scale 1 to 10, 1 is just terrible. 5 is okay, average. 10, amazing. You should definitely have this in your collection.
And this only matters if you actually care about what we think, too.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah.
Nobody cares about them. I would rate this a 7, but I'm going to push it as like a high 7 if we could ever do that. You know, it's a 7.
7.5. Go 7.5.
7.9?
No.
Too close?
We do a whole number in half.
It's definitely not a full
7.9.
8 game. I mean, there's not a. I mean,
It's
there's
like a 7.723.
Yeah,
It's fair.
This is my.
Okay, go ahead.
High 7. Continue.
High 7. I like the game. It's very elegant in some of the pieces and the way you can play and the strategy. And there's multiple complexities about the game that make it a great game. It's not at the 8 level with all the rules and all the intricacies that way with the complexity. It really kind of kills it. And then again, you could really the people you play with, which you hate.
Yeah. He hates us.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you could just really have a horrible experience, you know, kind of like Gears of War or something.
Yeah.
Inside joke.
Not to mention Gears of War. That's a whole can of worms.
What was the other thing you hated?
So, yeah, 7. You can give it 7.
Or Formula D, right?
7 plus.
No. Manhattan Project.
Oh,
we actually
Manhattan
like
Project.
Formula.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Before we start rolling into every other review, watch the other episodes, you'll see it. I will also give it a 7. I enjoy playing it. It is a lot of fun. And mostly I think it's because the group of people, like Adam said, you know, I mean, if you didn't have that group of people where you had fun and you could get along and you can joke about things, it would be very bland and very boring. It would just be terrible. But, you know, the only complaint I really have is just the board pieces that they don't, I mean, you can slide under that, and these round pieces get very cluttered if you get a lot of them, and sometimes there's tons and tons of aliens.
When somebody spawns like 7 aliens in one room.
like that.
Yeah.
Keep searching and searching, then opens the door that do not open, parasite infection. Well, what's behind here?
Otherwise, you know, when you have all the cards out, it's only yay, so you can play it on a coffee table dang near.
It is a very small board, that's true.
It is actually nice.
A plus, that's why they went with the
but yeah, the cards look good. I think it plays fun. Of course, there's a few things, and there's a few things about every game that just get you on the rolls, but I'm going to give it a 7.
I'm going to go with Ian here, and I'm torn. I'm going to go 7 or 7.5. I want to go 8. The
7
I thought it was a 7.7.
You know, I'm going to go 3 smiley clowns.
7.3?
3 smiley clowns.
3 smiley clowns.
So I'm going to give one suggestion. One suggestion is that make sure everybody knows the rules and knows how the blood passing works and what happens to make sure that they know what color they're getting. No, it doesn't even matter if you're colorblind.
No, I'm going to change my vote. I hate Brian. We're all voted. Vote online. Brian, is he the one you hate?
If you just show everybody that, hey, just because you get a blood card doesn't mean you're infected. Make sure you look at that little dot. Have them glance over the rules. Explain it really well. That also makes the game a lot smoother and a lot more fun, and everybody really knows if they're infected or not. So as long as you do that, and you play with the right group, not to beat a dead horse, but it's a really good game. It's a lot of fun, and it's, you know, that horror sci-fi vibe is kind of cool.
I really like this game, but I'm going to have to go just a little bit lower and give it a 6. And the 6... Hater! Maybe a high 6, like a 6.8, 6.83.
How many smiley clowns?
Wow.
The viewers want to know.
2.5 smiley clowns, maybe.
I'll take that.
At the outset, I'd say I really, really like the game, and mostly because of the group, the people we play with. That's what makes it so much fun. The reason I'd give it a 6 is partially for the components just being maybe not quite what I would want for this game to, you know, fit together well, fit, you know, all the components onto one card if they have to be. and also because of the rules. The fact that they did another version of the rules is great. I'd love to see the game designers come out and you say, okay, yeah, there's an issue here we need to address, and putting out a new set of rules. What's kind of a problem for me is that even with that new set of rules, we've played this a fair amount, and we still are going back to the rules and finding that the rules are, you know, maybe not as clear as they need to be, and then going online and trying to find other people that have had maybe similar experiences in what they've done. So what brings it down from the 7 or the 3 smiley clowns for me to the 6 or 2.5 smiley clowns is the
So right now we're at an average of 3 unicorns and 1 fireman, I think, right now.
Yes,
that's the average.
Female firemen.
Which are not hot because they don't exist.
Exactly. They're like unicorns.
Go back to previous reviews.
What brings it down?
Unicorns don't exist like cool Dungeons and Dragons players. It's just a myth.
Whoa, whoa.
And hot women gamers.
Oh, jeez. Just everything? Really?
Who have we not insulted?
Remember, meeples@gmail.com with comments. We will respond.
We probably will.
And well, actually, it's probably our last episode, so. But what brings it down to that 6th level for me, getting back my
Are we still going with this?
I thought we were done.
We're done.
We decided we had 4 rainbows or something.
You put your number out there, we're done with the comments.
Alright. The rules are the biggest downside for me.
Absolutely.
That being said, the game is so much fun. Some tweaks to the rules would bring this up to a 7 or maybe even an 8 for me. It's a lot of fun. It's a game I'll definitely want to play more.
However, the more we play it, we have gone to the rule book a little bit less each time. Especially like when on the nights when we played a couple games in a row and everything's still fresh. You know, because it's like any game, you go weeks without playing it. You got to start. It's like starting from scratch again. So play several games your first night would be my recommendation.
Yeah, it'll stick a little better.
So it's 3 Hobbit feet, right? That's what we're doing.
Really low.
Alright, so we got a high 7, 7, high 7,
6.
6.
So everybody
mid
7.
6.
Everybody likes 7.
So
and
yeah.
Adam's wrong.
Alright, what are we playing next week, guys?
I think Coliseum is what we're going to do next week.
Alright.
Episode 9, Coliseum. Please join us and check us out.
Thank you.
Oh, and don't forget to like us on Facebook, Meeples on Meeples, Facebook, and then Twitter @Meeples on Meeple. No S on the second one because there just weren't enough spaces.
And